Hello and good morning. Happy Sunday to you. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin here to give you an update on an improving but not perfect First Alert forecast across North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. Severe weather threat is done. Again, want to get that out of the way at first and let you know there is good news to begin with. Severe storms have moved well away from the area and no longer is there going to be a risk of severe weather today. Now, winds are still gusty, and they will remain gusty, but far below severe limits and not related to any thunderstorms moving through. We are done with the thunderstorm activity. Now, behind that line of storms, the story this afternoon and evening becomes one of cold and one of wind. It is going to feel very, very wintry, snapping back to what it should feel like in February after a couple of decent days there after, the early week rain event we had during the work week. So just want to walk you through what's happening now and the rest of the forecast. We do have another First Alert Weather Day Wednesday. No severe storms, but a cold rain and the potential for a mix or maybe some snow up in the higher elevations of part north and northeast Georgia. We're live on a variety of platforms right now. I want to remind you, if you have any lingering weather questions, feel free to ask those. Two places to do so. You can ask on YouTube or streaming on Atlanta News First account right now. Again, that's the account to search us, Atlanta News First. We'd love a like and a follow. You can be alerted to streams like this one if you do give us a follow. Or you can just simply text us, 470-777-9263. That is 470-777-WANF. Much like you would text a friend, you can just shoot us a text or maybe share what you already saw this morning, photos or videos. We have several of those in the queue right now. You probably have already seen some of those on Atlanta News First this morning as we were tracking severe weather, lots of wind, and a few tornadoes, at least one, moving through portions of North Georgia earlier today. All right, taking you back outside again. What an improvement. Time now is 10:03, and yeah, we have some clouds, and occasionally that camera is really shaking. We do have some gusty winds moving through, a couple of light rain showers lingering, but no severe thunderstorms, no risk of damaging wind gusts up to 60 or anything like that. No risk of tornadoes. Prettier picture here for you. This is on top of the Atlantic Building in Atlantic Station. Looking back eastward across the connector, that's kind of there at the bottom of your screen. And then Midtown there in the foreground and DeKalb County, Ponce Island, and over towards Decatur there in the background. Doesn't look like we have any questions yet. Zap Scanner saying, okay to walk the Beltline today? Yes. Cold and windy, though. On YouTube, we got a question. Okay, so is it okay to walk on the Beltline today? And the answer is absolutely yes. I think we're done with even the last little bit of sprinkle activity and light rain shower activity that we did have, and we will see improving conditions, but it will be cold, increasingly cold, in fact. That temperature will fall through the afternoon, and it will be windy, so bundle up. But yeah, no risk of any, dangerous weather or anything like that across North Georgia as we get deeper into the afternoon. I'm going to go and shift gears, and we will pull up here for you a look at current temperatures. The big part why that severe weather threat has ended is because colder air is moving in. The front has already passed North Georgia and Metro Atlanta. That's the thermometer at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. Today is still a First Alert Weather Day, but not because of the risk of severe storms. Simply, it is very windy and temperatures are plunging. Shock to the system for anyone, maybe with those Beltline plans. You can certainly do them. Just make sure that you're dressed appropriately and ready for a much colder feel outside, once you walk outside. Case in point, here's a look at temperatures across the area. Notice those deeper blues up in far northwest Georgia. That is colder air moving into North Georgia. Rome is down to 50. Just an hour and a half ago, you were in the upper 50s. So Rome will fall into the 40s. Dade, portions of Walker County, already in the 40s. 57 in Atlanta, but 51 LJ, 51 Canton. That colder air is moving in from the north and west, and eventually all of us will be in the lower 50s in Atlanta, the immediate metro, and then back into the 40s. Temperatures will continue to fall as we go into the afternoon and the early evening hours. Dexter saying, morning, Mr. Cutter. My question for you is, how long will this wind advisory stay with us? I can say windy conditions will stay with us through the majority of the afternoon and really not dying out until we get to this evening. But as far as the wind advisory itself, the actual alert in effect, that is set to expire at noon Eastern Standard Time. Now, I will say, I think even after noon, those winds are going to remain fairly gusty, but the alert itself gets peeled back at noon, but still plan on some breezy to windy weather as we get into the afternoon hours, not fully, decreasing, dying down, calmer until we get in the evening and overnight hours tonight. I'm going to go ahead and now kind of like lean into the forecast here going forward in time. It's not going to be a bad afternoon, but maybe not the prettiest of days. Again, hour by hour forecast today remains a first alert weather day because we do have continued windy conditions through noon. And temperatures will drop off big time this afternoon. Again, kind of a shock to the system. Yesterday we were stuck in the 40s, but we woke up to temperatures in the 60s in some areas this afternoon. But by 9 p.m. tonight, we're back in the 30s, whereas, at 9 a.m. this morning, an hour ago, we were right around 58, 59 degrees. So a 20-degree drop through the day. And, of course, that drop will get more substantial as we get into the evening hours as the sun begins to set. But notice noon 51 here in a couple of hours, 47 at 3 p.m., 42 at 6 p.m. Get the idea. Topsy-turvy temperature trend, kind of a 180 from what we normally see when the warmest of the weather is typically 3:30 this time of year in the afternoon. That's not the case today. We're going to have the opposite going into the afternoon. High temperatures today with that first alert weather day still ongoing. Notice the blues most common, most prevalent up in far north and northwest Georgia. And again, these are high temperatures, just a snapshot as temperatures will continue to fall through the day. So this is just a snap of moment in time. The warmest point of the day, which has basically already happened. And then as we get into the afternoon, temperatures will continue to cool. Again, here are the numbers on the screen. Temperatures low to mid-50s basically now, and then they will continue to drop as we get into the afternoon. Atlanta, an average temperature this afternoon of about, 46 degrees. In fact, have another way to show this to you here. If you just bear with me, we're looking through the hundreds of weather graphics here to tell you the best story. And I'm going to go through the hour-by-hour forecast when it comes to temperatures, and you'll really get an idea as to how quickly we're going to fall as we get into the afternoon and eventually the evening hours. Trinity, hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Will there be a slight tornado warning in Georgia? No more tornado warnings in North Georgia. Severe weather threat has ended for all of North Georgia. Severe weather threat has ended for all of Middle Georgia. We have a few storms down along the coastal empire about to move offshore off of the coast, but as far as North Georgia, anywhere in our region is concerned, the risk of tornadoes is absolutely over, and we have no additional risk of severe weather despite it being kind of a cold and windy afternoon. Could still see some limbs come down, but not thunderstorm related and not Trinity, not tornado related. So here's a look at feels like temperatures. This is just one forecast model that we have, but we'll go forward in time. Notice how the colder air will continue to work in. Wind chills already back in the upper 30s, lower 40s up in far northwest Georgia. By the time we get to 2 p.m., it'll probably be feeling like it's in the 40s, core of the city of Atlanta, and feeling like the 30s. Again, this is the combination of the temperature and the wind, what it feels like on your exposed skin, and what you should be dressing for as we get into the afternoon. 30s and 40s, that's what it'll feel like for most. Mountain wind chills in the 20s. Look at Blairsville, 3 o'clock this afternoon, already feeling like the upper 20s and lower 30s. By dinner time tonight, Sunday supper, real feel, what it feels like when the wind blows, low to mid-30s, the core of the metro, temperatures in the 20s, those wind chill temperatures up in far north and northwest Georgia. And then we're all going to wake up to some exceptionally chilly weather tonight into tomorrow morning. We are looking at a widespread and likely a hard freeze overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. In fact, here's a look at low temperatures. Going into tomorrow, forecast to reach 30 in Atlanta. Most of us, though, in the mid to upper 20s. If it's 28 or colder for, even a couple hours, that qualifies as a hard freeze. Trinity, no tornadoes in Lawrenceville. Tornado threat has ended. The sun is coming out. Severe weather threat has ended there on the lower portion of the stream, so no further risk of severe weather. That has ended. No risk of tornadoes. We are thankfully done with any severe weather today. We're just dealing with increasingly cold and continued windy conditions on into the afternoon. That wind advisory is in effect until noon, though I think it's going to remain pretty breezy, Trinity, if not windy, on into the afternoon and early evening. And tomorrow morning we'll wake up to calmer conditions, but that wind that blew all day today really helped to snag in and pull in some much colder air into North Georgia. 21 in Ellijay, 21 in Blairsville. We should be in the upper 30s for an average low temperature, on tomorrow morning's date. We're going for a forecast low temperature of 30 degrees. So back to colder than average weather in the first alert forecast. And it's that cold weather pattern and a continued kind of active storm track here that is going to bring our next system into the picture as we get into next week. So I do want to pull up that first alert 7-day forecast with severe weather ongoing this morning. Obviously, the focus kind of was on today, but we do have some active weather to track as well. First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris was breaking this out of the forecast and talking at great lengths about it this morning on Atlanta News First. Notice how we have the cold, the clouds today. Average temperatures back in the 40s, though we're looking at a good 15-20 degree range across portions of North Georgia right now. The cold kind of wins out, so as an average, we'll fall back into the 40s in Metro Atlanta this afternoon. It'll feel colder when that wind blows. Waking up to a widespread freeze tomorrow morning, only managing 51 tomorrow afternoon, mid-50s, more clouds Tuesday, and then Wednesday, storm system approaches. First alert weather day, widespread wet weather, not scattered, not hit or miss, but everyone is going to see some cold rain as we get into the day Wednesday, and in some areas, we could see a little bit of a wintry mix or even some light snow, mainly up in the mountains up far north and northeast Georgia. So for Wednesday, widespread wet weather, that's the guarantee here. Cold temperatures, too, stuck in the upper 30s and 40s all day long, probably with at least a light breeze, so it'll feel pretty chilly out there as well. But we are watching, to our north, out of the Atlanta News First viewing area, so in states like Tennessee, western North Carolina, on up to into the mid-Atlantic, a pretty significant winter storm. For us in North Georgia, a widespread chilly rain is in the first alert forecast, but it is certainly possible mountains, higher elevations, generally, 2,000 feet or so and higher, could see a wintry mix or some snowfall as we get into Wednesday, specifically afternoon, evening, and possibly lingering into Wednesday night. Something we're watching pretty closely here for you. Metro Atlanta accumulations looking very, very unlikely, likely to be just a cold, old, miserable rain falling across the city of Atlanta, but further to the north could be a different story. So eyes on Wednesday. We'll continue to keep you updated right here at AtlantaNewsFirst.com. Streams like this one on Atlanta News First Plus, and with video updates in the First Alert Weather app. Dexter Green saying, Mr. Cutter, my next question is spring is March 20. So spring comes in that third week of March. This has been a brutal winter season. Saying hopes spring will bring pleasant temperatures and nice weather as we get into March 2025. It can get cold even into April here. It isn't too hard to have 30s at night even in the core of the city. And we have had snow in March before, many, many times across North Georgia. So yes, the calendar is starting to change day by day, and eventually we'll flip over to the month of March. We have increasing pollen levels. We've had warm weather near 80 a couple of afternoons. So seasons are gradually changing. But it is still easy to get at least chilly, if not cold, even into, the start of April. But all signs point to, eventually a warmer pattern developing, but we'll have to see how that storm track continues. And if we do see occasional bouts of cold weather, it is a possibility, something we'll be tracking here. Again, we'll be keeping you updated. First alert, meteorologist J.D. DeSharoon is in the forecast center this afternoon. We'll have a full stream for you, recapping severe weather that occurred today. We did have multiple injuries reported, and at least one person, unfortunately, did die due to a tree falling on a home in northwest Atlanta this morning. We'll have the latest on what happened earlier today and what we're looking ahead to weather-wise as we get into the work week this evening on Atlanta News First with Joy Limnakran and as well as First Alert Meteorologist J.D. DeSharoon. Next Atlanta News First Plus stream will be coming your way live at 4:30. Enjoy today. Bundle up, cold and windy, but severe weather threat has ended.